the current geopolitical situation, especially in the Middle East, Europe, and the United States, is one that is ripe for regime change. The biggest event of 2016 may well be the fall of the Khazarian mafia government in the United States. With this primary source of evil and warfare removed from power, world peace should also be possible in 2016. However, this cannot be done by passively observing world events. Everybody must do what they can to ensure the planetary liberation this year. The Washington, D.C. regime that used Obama as its puppet and spokesperson is deeply divided. Many support the Obama regime. However, the fact is Obama regime presided over the mass slaughter of innocents in Japan on March 11, 2011. Those Americans who consider the murder of foreigners as legitimate foreign policy must nonetheless remember this regime has not prosecuted any of the insiders responsible for the murder on September 11, 2001 of thousands of Americans, nor do they tell the truth about this event. In addition, this regime has not acted in any way to arrest the criminals in Wall Street responsible for trillions of dollars worth of fraud that has impoverished for most Americans. The Russian government has also publicly and officially accused the Khazarian mafia that illegally seized power in the U.S. of setting up biological warfare facilities all over the former Soviet Union. When such accusations were made in public diplomacy, it's a sign the accuser is ready to prove these accusations. White hats in the U.S. military have also confirmed the creation of these biological warfare labs. These facilities were set up as part of the plan to use disease, starvation, and warfare to eliminate 90% of the world's population. Make no mistake, despite trying to put on a relatively benign face of Obama, the Khazarian mob ruling the U.S. has been caught red-handed trying to murder billions of people. That means they are trying to kill practically everybody who is reading this, plus their friends and families. The majority of the world's citizens are peaceful and reluctant to engage in violence. However, when somebody is trying to kill your family, you are legally entitled to kill them in self-defense. Failing to defend your family is in itself a crime. The White Dragon Society and their allies are in the process of fighting this genocide again. As a part of this, next week, it will formally demand that Chidoin Daigaku, head of some of the world's biggest martial arts societies, the heads of the world's military and intelligence agencies and others, to act in legitimate self-defense and permanently destroy the genocidal Khazarian mob. A lot has already been done, especially in the Middle East, where all the air forces of Khazarian proxies like Turkey, Israel, and Syria have been grounded by a Russian, Chinese, and Pentagon White Hat alliance. China has passed a new anti-terror law that will allow its agents to hunt down Khazarian gangsters anywhere in the world in concert with U.S. and Russian special forces, according to Pentagon and Chinese sources. The Chinese have already dispatched special force to Syria near the border of Israel in the Golan Heights, according to the sources. Russian, Pentagon White Hat, and Chinese special force in Syria, Iraq, and elsewhere are actively hunting down and killing Israelis, Turks, Saudis, and even Yanks on the wrong side, Pentagon sources say. The Chinese are also taking the special interest in hunting down Uyghurs operating in Syria and Iraq. The Satan-worshipping Khazarian regimes of Turkey and Saudi Arabia are now in deep trouble. The real Muslim world has not forgotten the Saudi regime's massacre at the Hajj last year. They thus recognize the Saudi regime is not fit to guard the Islamic Holy Lands. That is why Saudi call for 34-nation Islamic anti-terror alliance will only be met with lip service at best. Saudi Arabia is set to be partitioned, and it's only a matter of time before King Salman and his deputies find their own heads on the executioner's chopping block, they said. Turkey, meanwhile, is fighting its plans to recreate the Ottoman Empire falling big time. Kurdistan, including a large part of Turkey, is well on its way to becoming an independent nation, thus undoing one of the biggest injustices of World War I. In Turkey itself, economic woes including a weak currency, inflation, A drop in tourism revenues and shortage of goods are creating conditions for a military coup d'etat, Pentagon sources say. The Russians, for their part, are seriously thinking of a major land invasion of Turkey and Saudi Arabia as a way of permanently ending the radical Islamic heresy and the never-ending terror it produced, according to Russian FSB sources. The Russian Orthodox Church, the real power in Russia now, is endorsing such a holy war as necessary for the defense of Christianity as well as of true Islam, since the United States armed forces will not fight Russia to defend the current Turkish regime, NATO will not be an obstacle to such a move. There's also a very successful takedown of Khazarian proxies taking place in Libya and Nigeria. In Nigeria, the U.S. military has helped local forces defeat Boko Haram. The name Boko Haram, by the way, means books are forbidden, which tell you what kind of people these are. In South Korea as well, a manhunt is underway for bush-cleaning narcotics henchman El Chapo. This is part of the ongoing campaign to cut off all the drug money that has supported Khazarian mafiosi in their mega banks. Brazil has also woken up to the dangers posed by the Khazarians and cancelled a $2.2 billion deal it has made with an Israeli firm to provide security for the Olympics. The company involved, its national security and defense systems, has been associated with the death squad of South American dictatorships. The Brazilians are also fully aware that it was an Israeli firm, Magna BSP, that was complicit in the 11 March nuclear and tsunami terror attack against Japan. Chinese intelligence agents from the Ministry of State Security are also now in the US, Israel, and elsewhere, seeking revenge for the micro-nuke attack on the city of Tianjin last summer, Asian secret society sources say. Inside the US as well, the Khazarian mob's rapid loss of power is being seen in many ways. For one, U.S. corporate presidential spokesperson Barack Obama was forced by Pentagon white hats to backpedal on missile sanctions he had announced against Iran. Furthermore, the corporate media in the United States is being forced by Pentagon and agency white hats to reveal the anti-Khazarian battles taking place inside the U.S. power structure. One result was a widely published article by Seymour Hersh saying the U.S. military was defying the Washington, D.C. political establishment's policies in the Middle East. Furthermore, Pentagon sources say Rupert Murdoch was forced to publish a report in the Wall Street Journal about the ongoing battle between the NSA and the Khazarians, and that this included the NSA spying on U.S. congressional halls working for the Khazarian mob. The Khazarian mob-controlled regime in Israel has belatedly woken up to the fact that they are losing control of the U.S., and that the rest of the world has long been wise to their international antisocial behavior. That is why when Israel tried a false flag in Tel Aviv last week to make it look like they too were under attack by ISIS, absolutely nobody was fooled. The Israeli government has begun to read the writing on the wall, which is why they have recently tried to distance themselves from their Turkish and Saudi allies. The Israeli security apparatus recognized that with the loss of U.S. support, Israel's survival will depend on the goodwill of whoever wins the ongoing battle for the Middle East. These days, that likely means Israel will have to start bowing and scrapping to Russia. In any case, the futures of the Israeli, Saudi, and Turkish regimes all hang in the balance in the coming year. The future of Europe will also be becoming increasingly tied to Russia over the coming year since the U.S. military is in no mood to fight a war with Russia on behalf of the Rothschild. The European Khazarian elite have already cut their ties with the U.S. Khazarians by agreeing to join the China-inspired Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, though that will happen in the high-level financial war that has been raging these past years. On this front, the latest development is that the Japanese government has secretly decided to join the China-initiated Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, according to officials at the Japan-led Asian Development Bank in the Philippines. If this happens, the Wall Street and Washington, D.C. Khazarian financial rulers will be isolated and will face final defeat. During the year-end, the Vatican paid to Freemason Lodge and the Communist Chinese both asked the White Dragon Society to help negotiate the surrender of Khazarian financiers and mobsters. The White Dragon Society is insisting on a jubilee, a redistribution of ill-gotten Khazarian access, and the establishment of a meritocratic future planning agency. The White Dragon Society also insists that at least $7 trillion be made immediately available in a transparent manner to finance a massive campaign to end poverty, stop environmental destruction, and set humanity on a path of exponential expansion into the future. Until the Khazarian surrender is complete, the White Dragon Society and its allies will continue the multidimensional offensive.